What's poppin', niggas and niggas and non-niggas and non-niggas? It's your boy Brad Pill Black, and we're gonna talk about racism again. So the last episode for this series, we talked about what racism is and how it can be implicit and explicit. This one will detail systemic racism. Systemic racism, also known as institutional racism, is a network of institutional structures, policies, and practices that create advantages and benefits for whites, and discrimination, oppression, and disadvantages for people from targeted racial groups. The advantages created for whites are often invisible to them, or often considered rights available to everyone as opposed to privileges awarded to only some individuals and groups. It can lead to such issues such as discrimination in criminal justice, employment, and housing, among many other issues. I also have to mention this for the dumbass right-wingers who will say, "Oh, so you think black people can't succeed?" Now, I'm not saying black people can't succeed, or any other minority. We can succeed inside the racism. We've been doing that for hundreds of years. But we should still do something about it. As previously mentioned, there are a variety of ways systemic racism takes effects in the many institutions in which our societies functions. For the purpose of this video, we will be just using criminal justice system, as this system is plagued with systemic issues that target black people and people of color. A study by the Justice Policy shows that while white and black Americans admit to using and selling illicit drugs at similar rates, black Americans are vastly more likely to go to prison for a drug offense. In 2002, black Americans were incarcerated for drug offenses at 10 times the rate of white Americans. Today, blacks are 3.7 times as likely to be arrested for marijuana offenses as whites, despite similar usages. 97% of large population counties have racial biases in their drug offense incarceration. I understand that illicit drugs are, illegal, but even when used at comparable rates, it is unfair that black people will be targeted more for doing the same crime. It's also messed up how they will get longer sentences and have those sentences carry mandatory minimums. This fact is detailed by the University of Michigan Law School in a paper about racial disparity in federal criminal sentences. Examination of federal data indicates black Americans spend about 10% more time in prison when compared to whites who commit the same crime. Additionally, black arrestees are 75% more likely to be charged with a crime carrying a mandatory minimum sentence. Prosecutors contribute massively to this undeniable racial bias. Some may make the argument that blacks commit more violent crime, and that is true. Even when those factors are taken into account, they still get longer sentences. And a lot of that has to do with racial bias and unequal access to plea deals. As shown by the Bureau of Justice Assistance Research Summary of Plea and Charge Bargaining, the majority of research on race and sentencing outcomes shows that blacks are less likely than whites to receive reduced pleas. Studies that assess the effects of race find that blacks are less likely to receive a reduced charge compared with whites. Studies have generally found a relationship between race and whether or not a defendant receives a reduced charge. Despite all the evidence being provided showing the existence of systemic racism in the criminal justice system alone, why do so many people not see it as true? Politics aside, is because many people, mostly white, are disaffected and just don't care. And a lot of the people also are police. As shown by LeCount Wright in his research paper, More Black Than Blue, comparing the racial attitudes of police to citizens. This paper highlights the philosophical, social power, and group power and racial reasons why white police officers have a discriminatory bias against African Americans. This study finds out officers believe blacks are more violent, lazy, and should not be given special treatment compared to whites. It further highlights that those with less education adopt conservative views on race and the harmful impacts discrimination denial can have, i.e. shows how denial of racial discrimination can lead to establishment of racial hierarchy and white supremacy. There are many more examples of systemic racism within the criminal justice system, but I think I made my point. Nobody wants to be called a racist, but even more people hate experiencing racism. Systemic racism is not me saying minorities or people of color can't do anything with their lives. It's not playing into some leftist, indoctrinated, Marxist, victimhood mentality, or some other bullshit conservatives and racists believe. They discount the reality of the oppression many people in this country still face today. The data just proves the system was made to hold us down, and I haven't even scratched the surface on systemic racism and other systems like education, healthcare, and even voting. There's a lot of bad faith actors who deny its existence, and the fact of the matter is they are simply wrong. But anyway, it's your boy Brad Pill Black, and thanks for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. That's about it. I hope all y'all have a good one, and peace.